Much played and well performed even today, but it does fit into our talk, so we will begin with that. And then we will move to a second stage of Woody's racial ideals with the song Stew Ball, and we'll be playing just a little bit of the old Celtic version, and then we'll just let fly on a version that Woody and Leadbelly recorded. Thank you. And then we'll finish with Ramblin' Round. Each of these songs we want to suggest reflects an important stage of Woody's ideological development and his changing views of race. So let's begin with stage one. And to do that, I will hand the microphone over to my good friend.
We have the next slide, please. In 1937, Woody arrived in Los Angeles. And like many other migrants, he came at the request of family members and settled into familiar kinship networks in an unfamiliar place. But Woody was not alone. In the years he spent in Los Angeles, the city's population swelled with migrants. Of the million and a half people in the city, 75% hailed from out of state. This fact made Los Angeles unique. Los Angeles was also unique in how its collection of migrants collectively dealt with homesickness, or perhaps psychological homelessness. The obvious expression of this could be found in the proliferation of state societies. In Los Angeles, every state in the Union held an annual picnic and assorted events. By 1940, over 1 million people were registered in state societies. But Woody was not, as far as I know. He was not a joiner, as we've heard, and he certainly wouldn't waste a weekend at a state society picnic. A union picnic, maybe, a party picnic, perhaps. But he found other prescriptions for the ills of psychological homelessness. For Woody, song was his strong medicine. But being able to sing his own songs was a process, and a process that began on Los Angeles radio. In 1937, after working a few odd jobs around LA, he found opportunity at radio station KFBD. There he acted as Hillbilly Rube and sidekick to his cousin Jack Guthrie's slick-singing cowboy. Jack looked and played the part. He could even ride a horse and crack a whip. On air, they mostly played modern cowboy music in the style of Gene Autry, and in an age of about 1,000 radio Gene Autrys. And needless to say, Los Angeles did not need 1,001 radio Gene Autrys, and soon Jack returned to the construction trades and handed the reins over to Woody. And the first thing Woody did was eliminate the cowboy shtick. He called it a Hollywood put-on. Now, earlier today, it was discussed on how Woody actually was putting it on himself a bit. And I think that's true, but I think that there is a difference. And Woody's put on made me think of a line that Billie Holiday delivered about, a defense that Billie Holiday delivered about Louis Armstrong. And paraphrasing it would be, yeah, Woody put on, but he put on from the heart. Well, also I think we got to make the distinction between the type of music that Jack wanted to do and the type of music that Woody wanted to do. First of all, you have to think of hillbilly bands in the late 1920s, very late 1920s, and 1930s, and what these bands were actually like. And to do that, briefly talk about the most popular hillbilly band in Los Angeles at the time, certainly the first really large one, which was the Beverly Hillbillies. Not the band that Splat and Scruggs immortalized sometime later. But the Beverly Hillbillies were a creation of a radio station manager who was looking at some kind of sagging numbers. So he decided to create this, a radio ploy. And he pretended, it's a fantastic story, he pretended to go into the Santa Monica Mountains, and there he got lost. And after about 5 days of searching around, he saw smoke coming from a little holler. And he went down into this holler, and all of a sudden, there were families of people. And they had been living there since the Civil War. There were a number of houses, and I think you might appreciate from the last one, there was also a Baptist church. So he convinced these fellas to come down to Los Angeles, on mule, by the way, and come to the radio station and play, and sure enough, they could play lights out modern cowboy music. They dressed as mountaineers at first, and then they switched to cowboy gear. They did play traditional songs, which made them quite popular at state picnics, by the way. But they mostly played this kind of urban, jazzish cowboy music. And it ends up that the people who were writing the tunes for them have the very, very rural moniker of the Happy Chappies. And they also looked a lot like Cole Porter. Also, ironically, I suppose enough, is the leader of the band, a guy by the name of Tom Murray, was somewhat famous years earlier in New York, where he performed in blackface. So when Woody took the reins, and as we all know, he had his partner Maxine, Lefty Lou Crispin, they stuck to traditional, or what they call old familiar songs. Now, old familiar songs were quite a mixed collection. There were British ballads and minstrel act in it, work songs, vaudeville, and maybe even a little early Tin Pan Alley. And Woody began to actually understand the power of old familiar songs prior to getting to Los Angeles while on the road. Hitchhiking, riding the rails. These songs became the currency at a point in time that he had to sing for his supper. Or as Nora Guthrie pointed out, when Woody moved people with music, he got fed. People responded to these tunes, and often to Woody's amazement, they responded. Joe Klein wrote in the biography something akin to that, to the people that he was singing, these were more than just songs, but they were a bond that all country people shared. And singing these songs was more than simply entertainment, it was singing the people's past. So Woody sang common songs, songs for the people, by the people, and of the people. He needed no vast vocal range or instrumental virtuosity. Lefty Lou later said that she likened these songs to the tunes that she had heard on the back porch as a child in Missouri. Now, the picture above, to me, speaks to this issue of old familiar songs. I believe, and someone will be able to correct me, that this is a drawing. It's not exactly. It's close to the episode in Bound for Glory when he's at the camp in Reading, the labor camp in Reading, and these two young women start playing songs. And you have a camp of thousands of people, and according to Woody, the camp fell silent as they essentially played Columbus Stockade, I think, is one of the songs they played. Way Down, right? In Columbus, Georgia. No one's going to answer.